Hello, everyone, and welcome to this fourth chapter of our CCO Insights series. Today, we have Margarita to show us how we can set up our GitHub Insights dashboard. This dashboard allows us to monitor different metrics on GitHub. An important note about this dashboard is that it can be published in Power BI Online Service with auto-refresh enabled. Margarita, the stage is yours.
Thank you, Jordi. Okay, so the first thing will be, where can I find this dashboard? If we go to our CCOInsights repository, we will find this dashboards folder, and within it, there's a GitHub dashboard contributors folder. Now here, we will find everything we need in order to deploy the infrastructure that's required, that we will go through in a minute. Some information like general overview and even the Power BI template. So let's take a look to the deployment guide. Here we will find general information about what this dashboard is going to bring us, like the number of contributors, average pull requests per day, pull request lifecycle, and much more information. And some useful information about what this dashboard needs to be in place in order to work. So if we go into the infrastructure section here, we can see a simple diagram that's showing us what will be deployed as part of this whole process in order to this dashboard to work. And basically, it consists of a function app that's going to run some GitHub REST API queries against the GitHub API endpoint. This function app is going to be connected against an application inside, so making sure that we're ingesting all the logs into a log analytics solution. And then this function app will retrieve the information, process it, and store it into a storage account in the shape of tables that then our Power BI dashboard is going to consume. So as part of the deployment, there are some configurations that you need to do to the infrastructure files. For instance, the name of the storage account needs to be configured, meaning that that name needs to be unique within Azure. That's one of the points, along with other configurations that need to be in place from an environment perspective. And also from a repository perspective, as for instance, there should be in the repository an Azure credentials secret, making sure that we have that connection between our repository in GitHub and our Azure environment. If we go back to the folder, we will see there are other two folders, the infrastructure one and the source one. Now, the source one includes all the different PowerShell modules that are running this logic behind the scenes, these queries against the GitHub REST API endpoint. And then we also have the infrastructure folder. Now here we have a bicep file that's basically deploying all the infrastructure pieces that we've seen in the diagram before. So these are the main resources that you need in order to have all the environment ready. Now, how do we deploy everything? Well, as part of the CCOInsights solution, we're also providing you the workflow that you would need to run in your GitHub environment that you can find in the .github folder, workflows, and then GitHub contributors YAML. So here you have all the different steps and the different actions that are running that infrastructure creation in Azure and that configuration of the function app. If we go to the Azure environment, we can see here an example of such deployment with the same resources that we've seen in the diagram before. Now, let's take a look to how the dashboard actually looks like. Here we have an example of such dashboard where we can see we're retrieving information about forks, stars, watchers, also pull requests, issues, how much time it's taking each issue to be closed, same for the pull request, and also some general information about our contributors, meaning how many pull requests are actually closed and merged for each contributor to understand how's the repository doing and what's the impact that it's having.
Okay, now I have a couple of questions for you. Just for double check, do we need to change something in the deployment solution for the backend?
Yes, indeed. So as I said before, in the deploy.bicep file, when it comes to the infrastructure, there's at least one value that you need to update, and that's the storage account name. So keep in mind that, though all these instructions are very much defined into the deployment guide. And also there are some extra configurations that you would need to configure in your repository, as for example, those secrets. But again, all that information is definitely written down into the deployment guide.
Good, thank you. And do we need to run the Power BI desktop version?
Okay, so one of the key benefits for this dashboard is that you can actually leverage dashboard like Power BI Online, instead of just your local Power BI desktop version. Do you need the desktop version still? Yes, for the first time, because you need to publish into the web version from your desktop version. So you will need to download the template, configure it, and publish it. And once that's done, you will never have to worry about the desktop version again.
Good. And my last question, where I can contact the development team if I have a problem?
Oh, definitely. The repository is our main point of contact. So if you come back to our CCO Insights repository, you see we have the discussions, and we also have issues. So feel free to open either a discussion or an issue, and someone from the team will reach out to you.
Good. Thank you, Margarita.
Thank you.